Hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you're taking care of yourself, you're staying safe and well, and you are ready for another yoga session, because the more you do yoga, the more you take care of yourself. And it doesn't mean you have to do it 3 times a week, but like at least once a week. Have that movement, that dedicated time to spend with your own thoughts and your own body, and practice that kindness, compassion, and love. So when you're ready, find that comfortable seat, letting yourself settle in on your breath, taking time to unhook from the world and just be with yourself and your breath right here, right now. Let your breath be full and deep. You're filling up your lungs on the inhale, releasing fully on the exhale. Make sure that you feel comfortable, your legs are not tingly and they're not constricted, so if they are, just move into that comfortable place. And let that 3-part yoga breath, where you are paying attention to the inhale and the exhale, both are what is the rhythm of life, and that is you connected to the rhythm of life. Everybody breathes. Let that breath come into the lower third of your lungs. Press your navel into the space in front of you. The middle third, feel your ribs move up and apart, and the breath goes into the upper third. Feel that heart move up in your chest. And then exhale, heart and chest relax. Ribs move down and together, and then you pull that navel back and up into your body. And then the inhale happens again. You fill up, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And really feel that within you, coming from somewhere behind your navel, in front of your tail. You can press down with that lower girdle, tucking the tail, gentle squeeze of the glutes, pull those hip flexors up, flex those feet, press those knees away. Feel that support coming from within. And then on your exhale, lift and stretch yourself up out of that place of connection, support, and stretch yourself into that space around you that you are meant to take up. Take up all that room around you. So not only are you pressing down and lifting up, north, south, but you're also trying to stretch east, west, right, left. Maybe you feel a gentle pressure on the tops of your shoulders as you get that upper girdle engaged, lifting that heart, gently pulling those blades down. You're not squeezing them together, but they are definitely active. Breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then when you're ready to move, make sure you've got room next to you. Keep those girdles engaged as you reach those arms up above your head, and then pull them down into your heart center a couple more times. You can have your eyes closed, you can have your gaze up. It really just depends on what feels good in your head, on your neck. Next time you bring those hands to your heart, take a moment and then rotate to the left or to the right, doesn't matter, you only have 2 sides, and dip down over that leg and then come through center and rotate to the other side. And so we're just going to move side to side. Think about rotating, like lifting both your navel and your heart and then rotating it to just a little bit to the side. If you're up on something that it might feel weird, but you might want to stay up on something, you might want to come off. All right, you're going to pause in that neutral position. Let's move those legs. So if you are up on something, it might be a good idea to come off of it and bend those knees and drop those knees side to side. Start to get that blood flow once again in your thigh. We've been in that seated position. Maybe you feel a little tingly in the toes. Make sure that you wind those ankles gently around. Inhale and exhale. And then let's come into a wide-legged pose. Doesn't have to be super wide. Press through those heels so you activate all down the back of the leg. Keep pulling those kneecaps up into your thighs and then lift. So you're always lifting the front body and you're always trying to bear down with the back body. And that is what I'm trying to get you to plug into, to become aware of, and then to keep your awareness there. It just helps you with support and making sure that you're not going to hurt yourself. All right, you're going to hinge forward. This is still really early in our time together, so it doesn't have to be a super wide-legged pose, and you can bring yourself through and come down as far as feels good. I'm going to pause. Of course, I've got blocks. I love me some blocks. So make sure you set yourself up for your best stretch, finding that hinge where you're hinging over those legs. Really flex those feet so the back of those legs stay active. Keep pulling those kneecaps up into your thighs. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. Stay with your breath. And then lift yourself up into that upright position. And then bring those legs together, and you can shake them out a little bit to get the blood flow. Inhaling and exhaling. And then that left leg, I've got some mosquito bites. That left leg, it can be however feels good. Maybe lengthened out in front of you, maybe bent a little bit. You're never hurting any of your joints. Like, you're being very careful with your knees, being very careful with your ankles. And so then try to sit up on your sitting bones. This is where blocks come in wonderfully, to just, because you're going to lift that front body and you're going to have those hands barely on those blocks. That right leg, that's what I have out in front. You are going to try to lift it. Oh, it takes a lot, and then bring it down. It's just a little thing, and it takes a lot. I'm not putting any weight on those blocks. They're just there to help keep me lifted. Inhale and exhale. All right, you're really working that thigh right there. All right, leave it lifted. Yeah, let it swing back and forth. It's not, so you should feel this right here and right here. All right, pause, bring that right leg down, or whatever leg you just did. Take a moment to reset, make sure that you feel the best, and you don't have to have your stable leg straight out. Like, I'm gonna leave that bent a little bit, and then I still got a big bend in this leg, and then I'm gonna pick it up and down. So I'm not bending at the knee. My knee is bent, but I'm not moving at the knee. I'm moving at the hip. Inhale and exhale, pause and swing it. This is not a big move. This is going through the midline and a little bit out. And then bring both legs down. Take a moment. Let the knees be really wide. Your feet do not have to be together. You're just coming into this butterfly pose, letting yourself hinge over those legs. Inhaling and exhaling. So that really works, that trunk area, and lifting that leg, especially up off the ground seated, it's hard. So make sure you're drinking water and you're not taking yourself too seriously. But it's one of those things where that is you working that upper thigh, and that is just doing wonders for everything you do. It's making you stronger. So the more that you can practice that, the better it is. Let those knees now be bent and come over to the right or the left. It doesn't matter. You only have two sides, but set up so you are seated. If you want to use your mat for guidance, you can face the long edge. Your knees are going to the right. Your left knee and right foot are not on top of each other, and then they're stacked next to each other, using those blocks. So you're trying to press that left bun down. It's probably not going to touch, but try to have that stability as you lift yourself a little bit and then walk yourself around as much as feels good to the right. So take your navel, take your heart together, let yourself wind over that right leg, and then let yourself hinge down to your elbows. You don't have to make it down to the floor. You can come down to blocks. Keep pulling both of your glutes down. Keep lifting both of your hip flexors up. Your back body always pulling, but bearing down. Your front body always lifting up. Inhale and exhale. The more you flex those feet, that lower body is stability. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. Now, if you are way down in your elbows, bring yourself up a little bit. Come onto, so maybe you don't go so twisty. So bring yourself a little bit more even with your right leg, and leave your right arm, your right hand down, or your right elbow down, either on the floor or the block, and then lift that left arm up into the sky and keep those shoulders engaged. Inhale and exhale. You can reach up over your head. Feel that nice stretch in your underarm. You can move this arm if that feels good to you. Inhaling and exhaling. You can also make pretty big circles here. You're moving at your shoulder, inhaling and exhaling. That circle can be really big. So you are protecting yourself. Then eventually you're going to be done with the movement. Really press down with that lower body and then lift with that upper body so you come into that stretch. Take a big inhale. Exhale. Take that left hand and dive in between. Just get a nice stretch on the exhale. And then inhale, lift up. Exhale, find that stretch. So take your heart and your navel together. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale and exhale. And then you're going to be done with that movement. You're going to bring yourself up to that upright position. Take a moment to reset. This is a great place to bring a little windshield wiper action into the practice, so you get that blood flow back into that place where it goes. And then I can just write that right above my right butt cheek right now, with my knees going left, like where we just had, it feels open, like it's stronger. I hopefully you're feeling that too. So now you're going to the left, the right knee and the left foot, not stacked on top of each other, but next to each other, so you can engage, so you can really press down. And then you lift, bring that right butt cheek down and walk yourself, wind yourself around. So let that heart and that navel come together. Keep to move to the short edge. Keep pressing that right bun down, that right glute down, and you only come as far as feels good on your elbows. Inhaling and exhaling. Maybe your belly is really falling onto that leg that's bent, that left leg. I love that. It's like you get a nice little massage. Inhaling and exhaling. So we stay here for a couple more breaths. And then if you're really far down, you want to make sure that you're in a place of support. So bring yourself so you are coming onto your elbow. Maybe you unwind a little bit, and then lift that right arm up into the sky. Feel that shoulder engaged as you stretch and you're staying lifted up that off that arm that is supporting you. It is just merely there for support. You are staying lifted in your trunk, inhaling and exhaling. Remember, do whatever feels good to you. It doesn't have to look the same as the other side. Inhaling and exhaling. But eventually you're going to pause with that arm reaching up. Take a big inhale and then exhale. Twist with that reach through. Inhale. Exhale. That exhale helps you just get a little bit deeper. The inhale helps you lift a little bit higher. Take another exhale as you come into that third time, and then you're going to press yourself up into that upright position once again, moving through those reset postures that feel good to you, those reset movements that feel good to you. I am such a fan of the windshield wiper, but maybe you like to do the legs out and do the circling of the ankles or the gentle shaking of the legs, or maybe it's some combo of all the things, right? So just make sure that you are taking care of you. And when you're ready, you're going to come around onto your hands and knees to start with, and then press back into that child. Make sure that you're always protecting yourself, taking drinks of water as you need them, staying with your deep, full breaths, trying to stay connected to that place right behind your tail, right in front of, or right behind your navel, right in front of your tail. That is where you are moving from. Inhaling and exhaling, always trying to press down and back with your whole self, always trying to reach up and forward with your whole self. You're always doing both. It's always and, it's never or. You're always bearing down and lengthening. So you start to see how you are the support to yourself. You're making the support for yourself. And then you're also the one encouraging you to stretch and reach. Both are happening from within. Inhaling and exhaling. The more you keep those girdles engaged, the more you're going to start to feel that, the more you're going to inhabit your whole body. So you're not just taking up a little space in your head, because you have a whole body to take up, and you're not. So you're paying attention to not just when it hurts, because that's typically when anyone's paying attention is to when it hurts. All right, so find yourself in that table position. Hands come underneath your shoulders, knees come right underneath your hips, and you are not hyperextending those elbows, and you are staying lifted up off your limbs. You can do that little tiny pelvic tilt at that lower back. So you're pulling that tail down and lifting those hip flexors to come into that place of support. That's where you're pulling that tail down, lifting those hip flexors. And then you're coming into the shoulder girdle, the upper girdle. You're pulling, while those shoulders are engaged, you're pulling the blades together and then pulling them apart. And then coming into that place of support where you are pulling them gently down and lifting your heart. And then staying there with those girdles engaged. Make your cat and cow right in the middle. It just makes your cat and cow next level, because you are holding the support of those hyper flexible upper and lower backs, and you are then putting the movement more in that middle back, and that is where the movement is going to be the most beneficial. The hyper flexible, you need to keep stable and supported at all times. Don't hyperextend those elbows. So those elbows are always nice and soft. Spread those fingers wide. Try to grip on with the palm, the upper part of your palm, not so much the part down by your wrists. Inhale and exhale. Your fingers are just doing a gentle grip. And then after a few, you're going to pause in that neutral position. Here's where you can walk your knees apart if that's what feels good to you. And then once again, press yourself back into your child. So you're still active, but you're resting. And if you want to bring your arms down by your sides, or if you want to bend your elbows and gently wind your wrists around, you're never being harsh with your joints. You can also stack your fists on top of each other and rest your third eye right in that place, breathing full and deep. So your third eye is resting right on your fist. Stay with your breath. Inhale and exhale. This is a hinge over child legs. That's what this is. It is a resting posture, but you are still getting work done. It's still work. All right, we're going to come forward onto the belly. So take your time. We're going to do some of that low back work. Let yourself come forward onto the stomach. Let the arms rest in that comfortable position. Bend those knees. So if you want to turn one cheek, I'm going to keep my face facing the device so you can keep hearing me and it won't get lost and muffled. But I want you to do what you can in order to keep your neck always pulling from your trunk. After a few breaths, you're going to let those legs lengthen down your mat. You're engaging your trunk, pulling those tails down, pulling those blades down, and lifting those hip flexors and those hearts, letting those legs be active, and then bringing those arms down by your sides, palms up or palms down. You're in charge. We're going to do half locust. So this is where I want you to keep feeling your whole left foot on the floor. I want you to keep feeling both feet on the floor to start with, and then keep lifting and reaching your upper body out of your lower body. So the only thing up really is your collarbone and your face. So it's almost like you can Eskimo kiss the mat, but you are lifted. Keep that left leg where it is, and then let that right leg. So we did this seated. Now we're doing it on the stomach. You're lifting that right leg as much as you can, keeping those glutes active and pulled down so the right hip does not come off the floor. Make sure the left leg does not come up off the floor. Let the right leg just move side to side. So cross the midline, pull it out a little bit. Your knee is up, part or all of your right thigh. Inhale and exhale. You're going to pause, lengthen down. Here's where you're going to reset. Bend those knees. Make the pillow for your arms, or with your arms, if that would feel good. And then you are back in the position of lengthening down. Feel the whole right side down. Remember, only thing up is basically your collarbone and your face. And it's like you could French kiss. You could Eskimo kiss. All right, that left leg is going to lengthen. It's not about how high it gets. It's about how long it gets, how far it gets. As you are lifting it up off the floor, inhale and exhale. So your left knee is up, but your left hip is still on the ground. Your part or all of your left thigh is up, and then you're going to swing it side to side. So you're pulling through your midline and then pulling out to the side. And remember, if any of this hurts, you're not doing it. And then you're going to let that go, dropping both windshield wiper, inhale and exhale. And then prepare for both. This is where we're going to lift everything, only if it feels good. Bringing now your arms and your chest up off the floor. And then if it feels good to you, keep those legs pulling together and pull up off the floor. Inhale and exhale. And then once again, bring yourself into that reset posture where you drop those knees side to side, inhale and exhale. And then take your time, hands come underneath those shoulders, lift yourself up. You're always being careful with your low back. Keep pulling that tail down in that place of support, lifting that navel and move through. And then you're also got your upper girdle engaged. Move through a few cat and cows. I think this feels amazing on my body, especially after doing that low back work. I'm going to stay curled up in that cat, and I'm going to fall back on into my child. And I just think that feels amazing. If you're like, no thanks, of course you don't have to do it. I am going to also get a drink of water, inhaling and exhaling. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Always. And then ready to come up, we're going to come into a runner's lunge with that right foot up between your hands. Now, if you come through knees, then you are going to curl those left toes and lift. Try to find that evenness between the right and the left leg. If you have to pull up to a downward dog in order to get into this crescent lunge pose, then great, just do that. But we're going to take it pretty easy as we find our weight between that right and that left leg, and then lift ourselves up into that crescent lunge posture. Find those balls of your front foot and your back foot. Keep trying to square your hips, pull your navel and your heart to the short edge of your space. And then bring those hands to your heart, and then bring them to goalposts. Keep your navel pointed towards the short edge of your space, and then lift and rotate just your heart, your upper body. Inhale and exhale. If your arms feel weird out here, like if you're like, what is going on with my arms? You can always keep those girdles engaged. Bring that right hand to where your tail would be as you just keep twisting that heart to the right. And then untwist. We're going to now smear that back foot down, rotate, open those hips to that warrior two as we open up now in that warrior two. This is still a lunge. Find that evenness from your right glute and hip flexor all the way down to the ball and heel. And then the same thing's happening with your left hip flexor and glute all the way down to your left ball and heel. You're pulling those kneecaps, both. Doesn't matter what position your leg is, the kneecaps are pulling up into those thighs, and you are dropping that tail, lifting those hip flexors. So keep lifting that front body as you bear down with that back body. The arms reach wide, and then hinge over that right leg. So bring that right arm down. You can stack up blocks as high as feels good to you. I really like to stack them up. Don't lose the lunge. So make sure this causes me to have like a nice engagement in that right glute as I keep pulling that tail down. I love it. It hurts so good for me, but you're never doing anything that's painful. Inhale and exhale. Lift yourself up. We're going to reach into that reverse warrior two, and then we're going to lift into that reverse triangle. So you're not just straightening your leg, you are lifting with your center, and then you are hinging over that leg, those triangle legs, bringing your arm down to then try to rotate your whole body up to the sky. Your front body is coming up to the sky. Your back body is like it's going down to the floor. Inhale and exhale. That left arm, reach it towards the short edge of your space, and then bring it back, and then just gently bring it right behind your back, only as far as your crack. Not, you don't have to reach to your right leg, anywhere on your right side, just go to your middle. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with that breath. And then you can let that left arm reach back up. You're going to look down towards that right foot. Here's where you're going to rotate now over that right leg. You're going to bend that right knee, and I even step that left foot up a little bit, and then pop that left heel up. The hips come, the navel comes square once again to the floor, and then you're pressing that left arm down. Stay lifted. Rotate just the heart to the right side. Inhale and exhale. Of course, you can drop that back left knee if you want to. And then we're going to bring ourselves back into that runner's lunge. Now keep that knee lifted, and if it feels good, you're going to pull yourself up into a three-legged dog. Make sure you do not kick anything. Inhale and exhale. And then bring that right foot next to the left. Inhale and exhale. Hang in your downward dog. And then bring yourself once again back into a child, breathing full and deep. And if you are doing the block thing where you're using the blocks a lot, make sure you're keeping That upper girdle engaged. Always got those shoulders pulled out of your ears. That helps to protect that delicate area. I'm going to turn around. Ooh, I just hurt myself right there. Being careful. I'm going to turn around so I can stay facing you as we move through those stretches on the other side. I'm going to have another drink of water. All right, take your time. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If you want to pull to that downward dog and then pull that left leg forward, go for it. If you want to come to table and take your time, building, stepping up with that left foot, curling those right toes, finding that place of engagement between that right and that left side, and then lifting yourself into that crescent lunge. Finding yourself, finding that navel, that tail, and then finding yourself right underneath it and right above it. So keeping your awareness there as you pull that right side forward, and then that left side gently goes back. And then those arms come into those goalposts, and you keep pulling that tail down, lifting those hip flexors, and you're going to lift and twist to the left. It's not a big move. Inhale and exhale. Stay with your breath. And then you're bringing yourself to center. Bring those arms wherever it feels comfortable. This is where you lift yourself up, smear down that back foot, and maybe you have to move your stance a little bit closer or a little bit further away. It doesn't matter. You are finding what works best for you. You're bearing down, right side, left side, keeping those kneecaps pulled up, keeping that heart stacked on top of that navel, and then reaching your arms from your midline. So pay attention. Is your heart reaching over that left leg? It doesn't need to be. Pull it so it's above your navel. Inhale and exhale. Breathe full and deep. And then here's where we hinge, and you can just rest that elbow on that thigh, or you could stack up some blocks. I like to stack up blocks and then gently press against my arm against that inside of that left leg. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath. Keep pulling down both glutes down, lifting both hip flexors. Stay with that awareness as you come into that reverse warrior. Just a couple more breaths. And then lifting yourself. Oh, yeah. Sweet, sweet, sweet relief. And then hinging over those triangle legs. That's what's happening. Coming into that triangle posture. Keep rotating both your heart and your navel up to the sky. And so the heart and the navel are the front body. The back body is the dimples and the blade. So try to stay connected. Inhale and exhale. Let that right arm reach to the short edge of your space. And then let it gently reach for right where your tail would be. There's no straining of any of your joints. And just rotate then your heart and your navel up to the sky a little bit more. And then that right arm comes down, and then you are moving into that transition posture, which is, and you might have to move your legs further or closer together, and then pop that back heel up. You're down in that runner's lunge. Make sure you feel supported. Of course, you can drop that right knee. Right arm stays grounded. Keep the navel square as you rotate that heart away. Inhale and exhale, and then you are bringing yourself to come back into however feels good. If you want to do the same thing, you come into that three-legged dog. Inhale and exhale, and then come into that regular dog, breathing full and deep. Coming to your knees whenever you are ready. After a couple more breaths, if you're still in that dog, make your way once again down to your child and rest. Completely have that moment of reset, inhaling and exhaling. Stay with your breath and how you feel. And then when you feel complete, making your way into a pigeon posture. Here I'm going to lead through regular pigeon, and I'm going to start with my left side coming forward. You don't have to do it this way. You can also come through a downward dog, or if you like to lay on your back and do it that way, it's that figure 4 posture, or you're seated in double pigeon or fire log. So if you're lifted up off that, here's you're going to hinge. This is you hinging over those pigeon legs. Keep those legs active, breathing full and deep. Remember, if this is ever too much, come to where it feels good. Like if you typically do it this way, and for whatever reason you're like, I am just not comfortable, or this is not working, or my mind keeps racing, you can also go to another variation. Like I said, double pigeon seated, or figure 4 on your back. We'll stay here for just a few deep breaths. We've worked up all that oxygenated blood, so let's let that oxygenated blood get deep, deep, deep into your muscle memory, deep into your tissue, so it can do the most good. Keep those lower girdles and those upper girdles engaged, pulling both glutes down, lifting both hip flexors, pulling both blades down, lifting your heart. And then if you are hinged over those bent legs, you lift yourself up to then move into your reset posture. And that looks like whatever it looks like. Maybe it's a child's pose. Maybe it's back into a downward dog. It doesn't matter what you choose. Maybe you're on your back, and so you just do windshield wiper legs for a little bit. Breathing full and deep, and then we are moving to the other side. So remember what leg you started with. Now you're bringing the other one forward, or you're bringing the other one on top, or you're bringing the other one on top of the other leg, so you get the stretch on both sides. Breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhale fully, chest, ribs, navel. You should feel the top of your knee, not the inside, not the outside, but the top. Whatever leg is back there, it's coming right out of your socket, and you feel the top of the knee, the top of the foot on the floor. But it's like it's paralyzed and you have to drag it, and that's the sensation as you're dragging it forward. Let those deep, full breaths help to open you just a little bit more so that it gets deep into your muscle memory. So it does all that wonderful, juicy goodness deep, deep into. So it lasts you long time. So when you're 80, you can still walk. And then take your time coming into your reset posture. We're going to eventually go on to the back, which is the next spot. But if you don't want to pull into that downward dog, if you just want to come down into that thigh and then let yourself come onto your back, or you're pulling back into that downward dog and you're doing whatever fancy thing that you want to do. When you get to your back, you're finding that place where you are still lifting that front body and you're still bearing down with that back body. I'm going to make a little cushion just because my ponytail is not high enough. I'm keeping my neck nice and long, inhaling and exhaling as I drop those knees side to side in that windshield wiper, keeping my glutes nice and heavy. I pick up those feet, rock, circle on that sacrum. Those arms are out, palms up or palms down to support you. Keep trying to pull those blades down and lift your heart. Let the circles happen, and remember, if this does not feel good to you, keep those feet on the floor and just do the windshield wiper. You're in charge of how close those feet are, how far away they are. You're going to get a different sensation depending what you choose. Eventually you're going to be done with whatever movement. So if you're moving in circles or around a circumference, make sure you go in all the directions. And then eventually you're going to keep those knees bent, whether you have the feet up off the floor or not, it doesn't matter. Keep the heart pointed to the sky. Keep both blades pulled down and both arms touching as you drop the knees over to whatever side feels good. I'm coming over to the right to begin with. I'm keeping that left side anchored. It's almost like I am keeping my heart now anchored. My heart's in cement, and I am winding gently my navel away. Keep pulling those glutes down. It takes a lot of awareness, and that engagement helps to protect that low back. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. Lift yourself to that neutral position. Navel, heart both go to the sky, and then keeping that upper body nice and anchored. Heart stays anchored. Let those knees go to the opposite side. Let your breath be full and deep. And then bring yourself back through center. Move however feels good to you. It's also nice to do a heart opener here, or maybe you want to do some other twist that feels good to you. You do whatever feels good to you. And then hopefully you've got 7 or 8 minutes where you can lay in relaxation or sit in meditation so you can even reap these benefits a little bit more. So take time to do that. And until next time, namaste. Take care of yourself. Bye.